Discussion on the mandibular first premolar. The mandibular premolar buccolingual section. You can see this in figure 13.20a and D. The mandibular first premolar looks like a small mandibular canine with an extra small cusp. The pulp cavity also looks similar to that of the mandibular canine. The majority of these teeth have one canal, but two or three canals are possible. You can see this in figure 13.20 A9 D18. The pulp form of the buccal cusp is prominent in some teeth. You can see this in figure 13.20 A1, 2, 4 and 6 through 9 D10 through 18. The pulp form of the lingual cusp may be prominent but small. You can see this in figure 13.20 D15, 16 and 17 are vestigial. You can see this in figure 13.20 A1, 4 and 6 through 9 B10, 11 and 12 are it may be completely absent. You can see this in figure 13.20 A2, 3 and 5 D18, 18. Right. The pulp chamber is usually very large. The pulp cavity may taper gently toward the apex. You can see this in figure 13.20 A2, 3, 5 and 6 D12 and 13 are abruptly as the four canal starts. You can see this in figure 13.20 A1, 4 and 7 D11, 17 and 18 are it may gently and abruptly constrict in the apical region. You can see this in figure 13.20 A2 and A2 D10, 14, 15 and 16. The apical foramen usually appears to exit at the apex. Figure 13.20 A2, 3, 5, 6, 7 and 9 D10 through 13 and 18 are slightly to the buccal. You can see this in figure 13.20 A8, D14, 15 and 16 are lingual aspect of the root. This is evident in figure 13.20 A1 and 4 D17 mesodistal section. Let's have a discussion on the mesodistal section in figure 13.20 D and E. The pulp form is prominent and may be very fine at its oclusal extent. This is evident in figure 13.20 B, E and E, B6 and 9. The pulp form. Let's have a discussion on the mesodistal section in figure 13.20 B and E. The pulp form is prominent and may be very fine at its oclusal extent. You can see this in figure 13.20 B, E and B6 and 9, E12 and 18. The pulp chamber and the root canal or pulp canal taper gently to the apex. The apical foramen may appear to exit at the tip of the root. You can see this in figure 13.20 B3, 5, 8 and 9, E11, 14, 17 and 18 are on the buccal or lingual aspect of the root. This is evident in figure 13.20 B1, 2, 4, 6 and 7, E10, 12, 13, 15 and 16. Let's have a discussion on the cervical cross section in figure 13.20. See, the crown and the root size of the mandibular premolars vary considerably, and the pulp cavities vary proportionately. The outline form of the root may be oval. The outline form of the root may be oval. You can see this in figure 13.20 C 2, 6 and 9 rectangular. You can see this in figure 13.20. C 1, 3 and 4 are triangular. You can see this in figure 13.20. C 5, 7 and 8. The pulp cavity may be rounded. The pulp cavity may be rounded. You can see this in figure 13.20. C 5 or it may be elliptical. In figure 13.20, C 1, 3, 4, 6, 8 and 9 are triangular. You can see this in figure 13.20. C 7 depending on the external shape of the root. If two separate canals are present and the cross section is below the two separate canals are present and the cross section is below the bifurcation level, 2 or 3 canals will be seen rather than elliptical or ribbon-shaped canals. Now let's talk about the mandible second premolar. Let's have a buccal equal section. Figure 15.21 A and B. The mandible second premolar has a larger crown and a root than the first premolar. Similar to that, mandible lateral incisor have a larger crown and root than the mandible central incisor. Note the dimensions of the pulp cavities are increased, but extremely wide dimensions are confined to the crown and the upper portion of the root canal. But extremely wide dimensions are confined to the crown and the upper portion of the root canal. Another difference between the first and second premolar is that the pulp horns in the second premolar tend to be more prominent and the lingual pulp horn is present more often. The pulp horns are prominent in most of the teeth. You can see this in figure 13.21 of A1, 2, 3, 7 and 9. D 10, 13, 16 and 17. But the lingual pulp horn may be vestigial. You can see this in figure 13.21 A4, 5 and 6. D 11, 12, 14, 15 and 16 are non-existent. You can see this in figure 13.21 A8. The pulp chambers are usually large and may abruptly constrict. You can see this in figure 13.21 A1, 2, 4, 5, 7 and 8. D 11, 13, 14, 16 and 18 are gently taper into the pulp canal. You can see this in figure 13.21 A1, 3, 6 and 9. D 10, 12, 15 and 17. The apical foramen may appear to exit at the apex. You can see this in figure 13.21 A1 through 6, 8 and 9. D 10 through 14, 16 and 17 are on the buccal or lingual aspect of the root tip. You can see this in figure 13.21 A7, D 15 and 18. Let's talk about the mesodistal section. In figure 13.21 B and E, the mandibular second premolar is very similar to the mandibular first premolar, except that the overall dimensions of the second premolar are slightly larger. In general, the mesodistal. Let's discuss about the mandibular mesodistal section. In figure 13.21 B and E, the mandibular second premolar is very similar to the mandibular first premolar, except that the overall dimensions of the second premolar are slightly larger. In general, the mesodistal cross section of the mandibular premolars and canines are. The mandibular second premolar usually has one root and canal that may be curved, but usually in a distal direction. The pulp horns are prominent and the pulp chamber and root canal gently taper toward the apex. The apical foramen appears to exit at the tip of the root in the majority of cases. Let's talk about the cervical cross section in figure 13.21C. The amount of root structure is substantial in the mandible second premolar, as is clearly demonstrated in the cervical cross section. The outline form of the root is rectangular. You can see this in figure 13.21. See 1, 3, 6 and 9 oval. In figure 13.21, C 4 and 7 are triangular. In figure 13.21, C 2 and 5. The pulp cavity generally follows the outline of the root unless multiple canals are present. You can see this in figure 13.21, C 6.